Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cyber Revolution podcast. Thanks for joining us yet again. I'm Adam Hewitt, the CEO of Cyber Revolution, and today I'm joined by a repeat guest, actually, Mr. Floyd Te. Floyd, how are you?
Good, Adam. Thank you for having me. It's been amazing. It's been great, especially my new role as security analyst. But yeah, been loving it so far. Yeah.
Amazing. And that's what we're here to talk about. If you do recognize Floyd's voice, he was on the podcast about 4 or so months ago, I think. And we had Floyd on because he was just absolutely crushing his studies. You're doing so well. And we just like, it's going to be inevitable when Floyd lands his first job in cyber. And we just really love the way that you went about your studies. And as a result, you've crushed your studies and you now have done it. You've landed your first job in cybersecurity. So well done. Before we get into the details of that, I just want to give the new listeners of the podcast a bit of an overview of who this podcast is for. So Cyber Revolution is Australia's only dedicated cybersecurity training and placement institute. We help people land their first job in cybersecurity. And the Cyber Revolution podcast is for people that are interested in cybersecurity, okay? Interested more specifically in changing careers into cybersecurity, but for whatever reason, they don't know much about it. They don't know what skills they need to learn. They don't know what cybersecurity even is, what an entry-level role is. There's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to cybersecurity and a lot of misinformation out there as well. So the point of the podcast is to educate as many people as possible about how amazing this industry is and how you can land your first job in it. So if that sounds interesting, this podcast is for you. All right, Floyd, let's get into it. Let's start from, I guess, a bit of a recap. Can you just quickly go over what you were doing for a job when you started studying with Cyber Revolution and what you are doing now for a job?
Yeah. So while I was studying with Cyber Revolution to get my certs, I was on sales and consulting role for a construction manufacturing company called CSR, second largest company in Australia. So that's what I've been doing. And it's been good, but my passion has always been into technology or anything related to tech. So that's why I decided to pursue my search through Cyber Revolution. So right now, I landed my role as a cybersecurity analyst for the company called The Missing Link. I just started nearly a month ago. Yeah.
Amazing, mate. Congratulations. Cybersecurity analyst is an amazing role. We often talk about a cybersecurity analyst. It is and it isn't an entry-level role. It's one of the few cybersecurity analyst roles, the one that everyone really wants. And so well done on getting that specific title. And so tell us a little bit about that journey. So you've gone from being a salesman consulting, liking tech, to now starting that new role. Can you tell us a little bit about what a cybersecurity analyst does?
So cybersecurity analysts, they actually monitor any alerts or incidents that's been happening. So I work for an MSSP, which means a managed security services provider. So they provide cybersecurity services to their clients. So our job is usually any alerts that pops up, any incidents that pops up, we analyze it, we triage the alerts, we investigate. So the investigation part of it is the most exciting part. And what I love about this job is no day is the same. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be your typical, day. It's going to be the same day after next. No, it's not. So we triage those alerts, we analyze, we query through the logs. Log reading is so much fun. I feel like I'm a detective sometimes where I can, look and read through the logs, use the tools that I have to get some more context in each incident or alert, right? And if it's a false positive, happy days. If it's a true positive, we do something about it.
If it's false positive, you're like, okay, good. But if it's an actual alert, right, an actual incident, you're kind of like, oh, like I found this and now let's go solve it. That sounds so interesting. And for everyone listening, you might have seen this. There is a TV series out there called The Undeclared War. Have you heard about it?
I've heard about it, but I haven't watched it.
It is, and this is coming from a cybersecurity professional that's been in the industry for 20 plus years. He told me that the closest thing to depicting what goes on in a cybersecurity professional's mind when they're trying to solve a problem. Undeclared War, it is a great show. Go and check it out. So each day is different because I'm assuming each problem and each triage is slightly different because you can go down a rabbit hole.
Yep, that's right. It's so different. That's what's the exciting part about it. You may get some incidents or alerts that may be the same, but most of it, not the same. That's why you have to investigate further. And we always have this zero trust, which means even though the guy says, yep, it's safe, we still have to investigate further ourselves every single time, which is amazing. I love it.
That is a term that you hear a lot in cybersecurity, zero trust. I can see in your face how much you're lighting up when you're talking about it. That is so cool because I know how hard you work to get into this industry. I know how hard you work to get your studies, and I just knew you were built for this space, and you've got the brightest future ahead of you. So well done. And so, if you're talking about what is potentially a false alert and what is a true alert, can you give us a bit of a split? Like, what would it be if percentage wise?
Okay, false alert, for example. So just to give a brief rundown. So let's say we use a tool called a SIM. A SIM is Security Information Events Management System, which detects any anomalies or behaviors from a company. So a SIM uses UEBA, which means User Entity Behavior Analytics. So it detects anomalies which deviates from an asset or a laptop. So let's say a corporate executive gets activity from China or from America. And normally she doesn't get an activity from America at all. She's in Australia.
Mm.
So a false alert will come, oh, she's using cloud services that directs the route through the network through America or Amazon data center. That's a false alert because cloud services, they route services to make it more sustainable to different data centers located across the globe. So it's fine. As long as we scan the IPs, we flag it, and as long as it's not malicious, that's called a false alert. Now, a true alert, or let's say a true positive, is wherein like a brute force attack. There's like failed logins and failed logins to an account. And we see multiple failed logins in a period of time.
Yeah.
Let's say 15, 20 failed logins in an amount of time, and we check the IPs. Ooh, malicious IPs that's been reported how many times? Now that's a true positive right there.
Someone's trying to break in.
Yep, exactly.
What percentage would it be? Like, say you have 100 alerts a day. What percentage would be true? What percentage would be false?
Well, since I'm just near the end of my training, I haven't experienced that yet.
Yeah.
The most alerts I've had was like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And so far, I've only come across one true positive.
Okay.
One true positive, which was like a brute force attack.
Yeah.
So far. That was it. But so far, yeah, it's been smooth sailing, to be honest with you.
And you're 1 month into your new career.
Nearly 1 month. I started on the 11th of June.
11th of
Yeah,
June.
nearly. Yeah.
1 month in this amazing company in a cybersecurity analyst role, it sounds like the way that you've just talked then, you've learned so much already. Like coming from your background in sales, no previous cybersecurity knowledge, and now to hear you talk about your job that you're doing now, does that amaze you? If you look back like a year ago and look back at where you are now, are you a bit shocked?
It's a huge leap. I would say studying for exams or certs can give you a billion of fundamental knowledge, but it's just the hands-on experience can give you so much. The exposure to the different tools from a MSSP provider or a cybersecurity company is so valuable that it just opens up your mind. Like it opened up my mind a lot. It's a huge flow of information.
Yeah.
But I just try to take it all in.
And that's exactly right. Like that's when you're actually doing it. That's when you retain and understand all of the information, all of the pieces come together. So for everyone listening, how we operate is we help people like Floyd get your certificates, your CompTIA certs. They essentially give you the basic skills. And it's almost like a badge of honor to go, hey, I want to be a cybersecurity professional. I'm investing in myself. Look at these to your employer, your potential employer. I've got these certificates. They look at that and go, great. Those certificates have earned you the right to have an interview. You go, perfect. I'm going to have the interview. The interview is won by having really good communication skills, transferable skills, focusing on what you've done in the past and how you can fit really well into that organization. Then when you win the interview, you get in the job. That's when the real on-the-job learning starts because it's very specific to each managed service provider. And Floyd mentioned this before, an MSP or a managed service provider is a company that essentially, say for instance, one of the big four banks decides, you know what, our internal cybersecurity team can't handle all of the work. We're going to outsource that to a managed service provider. That is a company like Floyd's that does that specific work and looks after another company's network. Okay. Amazing. So you're a month in, you've learned a lot. Can you tell us a little bit about like the support you've been given over the past month?
The support is unbelievable, I must say, especially as one of the new guys that came in. And the company's culture fosters an environment of collaboration, autonomy. So there's no micromanagement at all. Managers do not manage teams.
Yeah.
So when I say that, we are given enough autonomy to be trusted to do the right thing. without being hampered down by typical micromanaging. So apart from that, the training and support has been really amazing. The guys have been really great. And I can never forget this. They told me, Floyd, there's no such thing as a stupid question. If you got a stupid question, just ask it. It may be something. It may be something. I was like, wow, okay. So I think I'm going to have a lot of stupid questions later on. So that gave me a huge sigh of relief. It was like, okay, that's great. It's awesome.
That's so important in any industry. For a new person coming in, I know you've done your studies, so you've got some core skills, but going into a new environment, a new career, and to be told, hey, don't worry about looking silly. Let that guard down, leave your ego at the door, and put your hand up if you have a question or you don't know something. That should be done in every industry, but more importantly, it definitely should be done in, really important industries like the cyberspace. Because if you go, oh, you know what, I don't want to look silly, I'm not going to ask that question, I'll just try to figure it out myself, and you make a mistake, then the consequences can be pretty dire.
That's correct. Yes.
Amazing. What I want to talk about now is that you're a month in, and I don't want us to get ahead of ourselves here, but have you thought much about what your short-term goals are?
My short-term goals for now is to learn as much as I can, master the tools that I'm given, be familiar with the processes and the flow of things, how people work, try to get more familiar, getting better at reading the logs, because reading logs is at first, if you look at face value, it's daunting. But once you get into it, especially if you love investigating, it's amazing. It's fun. I love it. It's like solving a complex puzzle every single time.
Yeah.
So my short-term goal is just to do the what I do and my position for now, 6 months to a year.
And so I find it very fascinating, because I would have pegged you as somebody that would go straight into a GRC consulting role, because you've got a sales consulting background and you would have loved the consulting, and that's what you're going to land. You've obviously landed yourself in a technical role. And now as you talk, I can see how much you enjoy problem solving, fixing stuff, critical thinking, and kind of doing the detailed work. When you started, did you think you'd go into a consulting role, or you always set on the technical pathway?
I was always 50-50, but I'm more on the consulting side of things because I love engaging with people. I love engaging. Communication, I think, is my bread and butter, but I have to deal with the cards I'm being dealt with. To be honest with you. So I saw the opportunity. I took it.
Yep.
Come what may, whatever. I put myself out there. No regrets. I've been loving it so far. Yeah.
And who knows, right? Like, once you can get, if you want to, as I said, I think the great thing you're doing now is learning as much as possible about the technical role. If you do that for a couple of years, then the world is your oyster. You can just progress in the technical space, or easily, because as you said, you have great communication skills, and that is a bit of a unicorn in the cyber industry if you've got technical skills and you can communicate really well with stakeholders and shareholders. Potentially you could pivot long-term into a cyber consulting role. Have you given that much thought? Now, we're getting a very far ahead of ourselves here, but have you given, I guess, some thought on where you want to be long-term?
Yeah, I would still love to be in a consulting role, but, my mentors have told me things can change. And I've been loving my job so far, so we'll see. But I'm still aiming for a consulting role. What I love about this company, because there's a clear path of progression. So they told me where I can go. I can either be a pen tester or be a security consultant, which you need to get your OCSP certificate, I think. You need to be a pen tester. Yeah, exactly. Or I can go to GRC, which they have a different department for. So either way, but we'll see. Like, I still would love to do a consulting role, but I think that'll be like 18, 24 months in.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah, that's what they told me. Because we got a lot of seniors or some analysts who transition to a consulting role, and they're just thriving. Yeah.
Yeah, they would be. And so they've mapped out that progression, because everyone hears me talk about it all the time. Once you're in the cybersecurity industry, the number one thing that I think is the best thing about the cyberspace is their career progression. You can go from an entry-level role, which is where you've just started, and in 2 years, 2 or 3 years, you can get multiple promotions just in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
That's awesome in any other space. So if I was in your position, that's what I would be most excited about: the career progression, earning potential. Like, you can earn very good money in this space if you're in the industry for 3 years. That would also excite me. What excites you the most about starting your new career now in cyber?
Just everything about it. Like, the investigation part of it is the most exciting part. When you get an alert or an incident, if you look at face value, okay, seems harmless. You go in, you dig deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's like going to a rabbit hole, but not really that too deep, because once you're used to seeing what you're saying, you can really figure out, okay, this may be okay, this may be not. But apart from that, the systems that we use, the tools that we use is just amazing. Like we use various technologies or tools, like for example, CrowdStrike. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with CrowdStrike, like Exabeam. These are SIMs that we use for our clients. And the documentation as well for that a company does is insane, to the point that everything's documented from processes to procedures, because cybersecurity, you don't want to have any gaps. That's what really excites me the most. Just the process, just everything. Investigations.
Everything.
Mostly.
I like that answer.
Everything. Everything. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome, mate. No, really well done. And I think, you've got an amazing future ahead of you, and you've got the right strategy, right? If you just head down the next year, put some runs on the board in your current company, then the opportunity is going to come your way. You've already kind of answered this question 4 months ago when you were first on the podcast, but that was before you were in the industry. Now that you are in the industry and you see it, you see how good it is, what would be your top 3 tips for somebody who is thinking about getting into cybersecurity? They've always wanted to do it, right? But they're like sitting on, they're like, maybe it's not for me, or maybe I'm not sure whether I can study the certifications or whatever. What would be your top 3 tips now that you're in the industry to those people?
Funny you're speaking that. So for people who are doubting, it may not be for you or it may be for you, I would say do your research first, see if it's for you or not. Like, I'm not kidding. One of my colleagues is a veterinarian background, went to cyber because he wanted to get into cyber. Pretty much it. So do your research, see if it's for you. This is very operational, very technical, but at the same time, there's a non-technical pathway. But most likely for entry level, I think Analyst is the way to go. That's my first step, do your research. The second tip, just do it. It takes only one step. It takes just one step, and it will follow.
And it's often a small step, isn't it? Because people, I see it all the time, people are 95% there. They're like, yep, this is for me. And then all of a sudden the doubt creeps in there. They're like, oh, wow, what am I doing? I'm changing careers. I'm 35. I should just stay in my comfort zone. And all that is take that last step and commit. But unfortunately, some people don't, right?
Yeah, that's true. And my last tip is, if you tick the boxes on the first 2, tip number 3, put yourself out there. So it's not enough to just apply jobs online. You got to go to events. I would recommend you guys download the Meetup app. Meetup. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Meetup app. So it's an app you can download to your smartphone where you can attend events, any kind of event you want. Cybersecurity, be it music, be it arts, and then where you can network with people. So recruiters go to these events as well. And because you see, the problem is when you apply online, you're competing with 100 plus people, 200 plus people, and they don't get to see your face. So how can you create an impression if you don't put a face to your name? So the most important thing is put yourself out there, go to events. It would really help you a lot.
Yes, networking. So everyone listening as well, and all of our Cyber Revolution students, as Cyber Revolution students, you get a free membership to ASA, Australian Information Security Association. They are the biggest organization that does cybersecurity networks in Australia. Okay. Physical networks, networking events, attend those. If you're a student listening in and you're like, oh, I'm a bit nervous about attending something I don't know, or what happens if, I embarrass myself or I ask a silly question? There's no such thing as a silly question. Go to those events, meet people in the industry. Everyone in this space and this industry is so warm and welcoming, and get your face out there. Because then once you interview potentially with that company, they're going to recognize you. Okay. 3 amazing tips, Floyd. We've run out of time here because I know you're really busy, and I really appreciate you jumping on and coming on for a second time. I love how much I can see how excited you are and your face light up when you talk about your job. So just again, on behalf of everyone at the Cyber Revolution team, well done on landing your dream role.
Thank you for that, Adam. Thank you.
No worries. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode. If you want to know more about our job placement program that Floyd's gone through, head to cyberrevolution.com.au. Leave your details there. Someone will reach out. Also, guys, please keep commenting. Let us know what you want us to cover in future podcasts. Leave reviews, all the stuff you keep doing. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks for listening, everyone.